Hello Eric, this is Dennis again. Right now I will first identify the first problem I wanted to solve. Right now I have a DLL based on the release 1556 or revision 1556. Right now for my example I have a template called quote, and that will simply put quotation each side of the selection and with the cursor at the end. So here in my example here I have put Unicode character that take more than 1 byte per character, and here for example I have a string that is not quoted. So what I will do, I simply select it and then invoke the quote thing, the quote macro, and it doesn't really do what we wanted. Yes, it coded the selection, but it put it at the wrong place. The equal is there, and the cursor was flashing there at the end. So this shows the first problem. And regarding the definition of the second problem I would like to solve, let's suppose we have a template that I call GExperts. Where it should show the date time with blah 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 and the cursor at the end. So my point here is to that there is a problem when we do the when we invoke the macro, when the cursor is on a line with Unicode character on the same line before the cursor point and Unicode character that take more than 1 byte. For example, let's suppose I invoke the GExperts here. All here we have a regular character, 1 byte per character. If I invoke my GExperts, it does what it should. The date, time with my blah blah and the cursor flashing there. But if I do on that line, it doesn't even recognize the GExperts. The macro template name is incorrect, and if we continue this way and we manually select GExperts, we see that it doesn't do what it should do. And now here's the result with the DLL modified with the 2 suggestions. Let's suppose we test our quotation test. So let's suppose we select blah blah blah, and then we invoke our quote macro. It correctly code the text and put the quotation in the correct place, and the cursor was flashing in the right place. Now let's suppose we test our GExperts macro. So we see that it does it correctly for the line where we have Unicode character before the cursor, Unicode character that took more than 1 character. 1 byte, sorry. Okay, first problem is easier to explain than the second one. It is simply because in the routine, when we prepare template text, when we evaluate the selection that might be selected, and we check where is the cursor and stuff like that, in our computation we refer to the cell start and cell length, and we have to be informed that the cell start is referencing the buffer as byte. Okay, so if the for example the very first character in the buffer is Unicode character coded on 2 byte, the position immediately after will not be 1, it will be 2. Okay, so cell start is in term of byte, and when we arrive here, the what we had before here, the insert offset was in term of character. So that's why when it's time to compute things related with the official offset based on byte in the buffer, I suggest to use a new variable that would be called insert offset in buffer, and this one would be this one can be computed from the insert offset that we have when we arrive here in that routine. And that's why I suggest to add the function get buffer pos from pos in current editor. So the buffer position, I think it's a good name because it's referred to what it is, an offset in byte in the buffer position. So the routine is there for the command I wrote, convert position from character position in Unicode ANSI string to character position in U2F8 encoded buffer based on current editor. And the code is basically a copy and paste from other code that was there. So this one will be pretty easy. Okay, the second one is a little bit harder to explain and to justify, but I will try to do my best, even if I'm not a perfect bilingual. My point is to indicate that when we want to, when we call the function char pos to pos, you know, when we want to get the exact cursor position, which is in the buffer, which is in fact an offset in the an integer, which is an offset for the at the byte where is the cursor position. My point is to say that the char pos here function for the edit view is not returning the correct position in the condition where when the cursor is on a line that before there is Unicode character that take more than 1 byte per character. The way the routine is made, it looks like it assumes that all the characters on the same line are using 1 byte, no matter if they are Unicode with 2 byte or not. It compute correctly the first line before, so these will be correctly taken account, but not these one, not the one on the line where the cursor is. To help to show that, here's the routine I have that we're gonna test quickly. First, when it will, when I will first I call the char pos to pos, and it will set the cursor position, and we will show it in debug. Okay, it will be written cursor position using legacy. And then after that, I will call my own routine that I call corrected char pos to pos, and I will show cursor position using a fixed char pos to pos, and we will compare. So right now, the DLL running in background of my Delphi is based on that code, and we will do a small test first with non-Unicode characters, just to make sure we know we are good enough to compute that. So I will enable the debug. So basically, I will run simply, I will invoke a macro that will simply, outside that, quote the character that are selected, like that. So, but anyway, it's not really important. What it does is just to, when it will compute the cursor position. So let's suppose we want to compute it manually. So that's why the example is so simple. So this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the carriage return line feed, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this one is 13. So let's suppose we invoke our code thing. So now if we look in our debug, the legacy has compute 13, and the one I made fixed also compute 13. So that's fine. So now let's replace these one by let's replace these one by Unicode character. I told you that before when the Unicode character taking more than 1 byte are before the line where's the cursor, there is no problem. So that's we're gonna verify to check that one. So let's do it again. So here it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for carriage return line feed, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that one should be 18. So let's invoke the macro. So we have our 18 at both places, like I told you. And remember that number, 1818. Okay, now the problematic situation I was talking about. Let's suppose I put my special character here. Let's do again the computation manually. What should be that position? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for the carriage return line feed, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So that one should be at 23. Let's check that. So see, the legacy is returning 18. It can't be 18. It was 18 minutes ago when here we have EEE. Okay? So, and here we have 23 with the corrected routine. So that's why I would suggest to use that routine. The one that I call corrected char pos to pos, and what we give in parameter is the buffer of what is in the editor. So it will solve situation when the cursor is on a line where there is a Unicode character before Unicode character that takes more than 1 byte. I hope it was not too long.